What if one conversation could change a veteran's life? What if just a simple cup of coffee and a shared story could create a lasting impact? Today, we're going to dive into the power of connection with Jim Ryan, the heart behind Brew and Chew, a gathering that is bringing veterans together since 2020. Get ready for an inspiring conversation that might just change the way you think about community and support. Stay tuned. Welcome to Life Mosaic. Hi, I'm Weezy, and I love to share stories that connect the generations, weaving together the threads of life into a beautiful and lasting legacy. This is a space where every moment and memory matters, embracing the joy, the challenges, and everything in between that shapes who we are. Join me as I uncover and celebrate the living legacy that transcends time and space, creating the mosaic of life one story at a time. Welcome back to Life Mosaic, where we share inspiring stories and meaningful conversations. Today we have a special guest, Jim Ryan, a veteran community advocate and driving force behind Brew and Chew, a monthly gathering that brings veterans together for camaraderie and connection. Since December 2020, Jim has helped foster a space where veterans can share their experiences, hear from influential speakers, and find support. We're diving into the story behind Brew and Chew and the impact it's had on the veteran community, and see what's next for this incredible initiative. Jim, welcome to the show. I am so glad that you could join us today here on Life Mosaic. Thank you for being my guest.
Oh, thank you for inviting me, Weezy. I appreciate it.
You are so welcome. Jim, can you share with us a little bit about yourself, your journey with the military, and then your business right at home? And just tell us how all of this, before we get into Brew and Chew, how all of this evolved.
Sure. I joined the military. I joined the Navy 1984. I was 20 years old and looking for a cheap ticket around the world and a way to travel. So that is truthfully the reason I went in. I was in for 6 years, 84 to 90. Nothing really exciting happened while I was in. There was very few conflicts in the world, so I was really pretty lucky from that perspective. I got to see a lot of wonderful places. And then after I got out of the Navy in 1990, actually, the only thing that people might know about is the battleship I was on, which was the USS Iowa. And unfortunately, that was the ship that there was a turret explosion. People might remember that, but that was the beginning of the decline of the battleships. They were all decommissioned shortly after that.
Okay.
But it was a terrible turret explosion that a bunch of sailors were killed. I was not on board during that time.
I'm
I
glad
came
to
on
hear
board
that.
right after that. Yeah, it was pretty sad. I did know some people from a previous ship that were in the neighboring turret, and unfortunately, they were not killed. But yeah, so that was the demise of the battleships, as I mentioned. And I got out of the Navy on the day the Iowa was decommissioned, October 26, 1990. I had 2 more weeks left in my military career, but they graciously let me out 2 weeks early. Me leaving the military was on the same date the Iowa was decommissioned.
Oh,
That was
isn't
that
that
was an
a
exciting
coincidence?
6 year Navy career. And then right after that, I went to work for IBM. Had a great career with IBM. Worked for them out of Florida and South Carolina for 30 years, just 30 years I was with IBM. And then after that, I left IBM because they were moving everybody up to Washington, D.C., and I did not want to live up there. Worked on a lot of federal contracts. But then I started right at home in 2017. I bought a franchise and I opened up on Veterans Day. I didn't plan that, but the state licensure dragged on a little bit and it took about 2 extra months. So I opened up on Veterans Day 2017, and here we are 7.5, 8 years later, and still doing it.
Just because this is heard across everywhere, could you just give us a brief description of what home is?
Absolutely. Right at Home is an in-home care franchise. I'm happy to say we will be 30 years old this year. We're out of Omaha, Nebraska. And I just have loved purchasing the franchise, taking care of seniors. I would say it's the most fun I've had as an adult, other than being in the Navy. It's hard to beat traveling around the world in your 20s and seeing different parts of the world. But yeah, our goal is to basically allow seniors, I like to say, age with dignity. We allow them to stay in their homes and not have to move into assisted living. That's not for everybody, but there are individuals that's a right fit for them. And when and if that's the case, I have some great referral sources, some great people that help me make that decision as well.
Oh, that's
But
great.
yeah, we love doing it.
Yes, and it's great to know that there's services like that out there for us that are getting up there in age. I'm hoping to be able to stay at home when that time comes. I have quite a few years before that would happen, but anyway, so with your influence of being a veteran, and it's like things just lined up for you in the veteran world. So is that what inspired you to start Brew and Chew? And what is Brew and Chew?
That's a very good question, Weezy. There's two things that inspired me to start this business. First and foremost, it was my mom who passed away back in 2000 from a glioblastoma brain tumor. But she was a nurse for 32 years. I
Mm.
remember as a child, some of my very first memories were in her community. They called them nursing homes back then. I know the names have changed, but a lot hasn't. And mom was always happy as a nurse, taking care of people. She always had a smile on her face. And so that was number one. When I left IBM, I was looking for something else to do. My wife at the time's like, you need to find something else to do because you're spending way too much time in the house because I travel a lot with IBM. But then the second thing was when I worked for the Veterans Affairs through my IBM career. We were up there for about a year and helping them. And I always thought to myself, if I could find a way to help veterans, I would really love to do that. So shortly after I opened my doors, I started this meeting called Brew and Chew. I always have to tell people it's coffee, not beer. We're not drinking beer at 9:30 in the
Because
morning.
this in this day and age, yeah, because brew naturally
Yes,
with all the breweries and everything that have
yes.
popped up over the years.
But our brew means coffee, so we have coffee and donuts, and it's the first Tuesday of every month. And we've been doing it now. I looked back at my calendar because our Congressman Ralph Norman has come 4 or 5 times now. And he was our first guest speaker back in December of 2020. We were just coming out of the pandemic. I remember we were all masked up. But yeah, I'm happy to say we've been doing that over at the Golden Corral the first Tuesday of every month, 9:30 in the morning. And I've had some great guest speakers. A lot of them have come back multiple times. But our goal is when I first started, it was just find some place where a bunch of veterans can get together and drink coffee and have some donuts and have some good conversation. And we do that every month. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're located in Rock Hill, South Carolina,
Correct.
but it's like a bedroom community to Charlotte. So is this just for the people in South Carolina, your county, or who do you extend your invitation to?
Good question. Any veteran or wife, a significant other, family member, 90% of the people that come to our meetings are veterans from in and around the area. And I do have some come from as far as Charlotte. My business, I cover all of York, Chester, and Lancaster County. So I oftentimes am out in those areas servicing clients, bringing
Hmm.
on clients. And I always tell them if they're a veteran about the Brew and Chew. But then we also have a franchise to the north, and the gentleman up there, Ken Helmuth, he helps me advertise this as well. So we get a broad group of vets from all over the area. And sometimes they're just visiting. They might be visiting a family member that I'm taking care of. I had a I had an active military young Navy guy. Oh my gosh, he was just coming out of boot camp, and that really made my day, just having someone like that. And he was just visiting his grandfather, who we take care of. And the people that come to my meeting, they will tell you I don't want to say I'm more fond of the Navy guys and gals, but I have a place in my heart, and I usually give them a little bit more time to talk. So
I gotcha. No bias there.
right.
What was the specific moment when you came up with the idea to start these group meetings?
I guess it was a good thing that came out of the pandemic. It was a challenge. I think anybody that's in this business will say that was not a good time for any of us. The challenge
Mm-hmm.
of getting caregivers. And I just felt so bad for my clients because some of the clients I take care of are in communities and we give them a little bit of extra care. And everything was in lockdown. And I
Right.
thought to myself, I really would love to do something for the vets. And that's where the idea was hatched. And there was a gentleman, Harvey Mayhem, who's passed away recently. He ran what's called the Quilts of Valor. And they were locked down as well, because what the Quilts of Valor do is they have these volunteers that sew these beautiful quilts and they present them to the vets. So Harvey used to call them a Lifetime Achievement Award. And Harvey presented me one time, but
No.
that all got locked down during the pandemic. So what Harvey and his quilters did is they were doing masks, these beautiful, very military, patriotic masks.
Mm.
So I was looking back at our
Yes,
picture.
I remember the days when the mask became like a fashion accessory.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So we were all donning our military colors and Navy, Marine Corps, everybody had their own. And it was quite interesting. But looking back at those old pictures, it brought back a lot of memories.
Yeah. Yeah. So just being with that, that just inspired you that I need to start a gathering and pulling these people together so that we have some place of commonality, a community to talk instead of being isolated.
Yes, and it worked out quite well because I'm located, as you mentioned, in Rock Hill on Anderson Road. And just up the road on Anderson, there was a Golden Corral at the time, and I was working with the manager there. And then she told me, she said, we're closing down. We're going to build a brand new Golden Corral. And I was like, oh, really? Where's it going to be? Come to find out, I can see them from my door. We share the same parking lot. So they literally built this brand new Golden Corral.
They did it just for you, Jim.
I know, right? I'd love to think so. But the other interesting connection there is we are owned by the same parent company too. So Golden
Really?
Corral and Right at Home are owned by the same company.
That's just so amazing. All these little nuggets that line up for you in your life that it's just it's quite amazing.
It is. I feel blessed that it's all come together the way it has. I'm just afforded this great opportunity to help people that oftentimes don't have anybody else to help them.
Yeah. Since you started Brew and Chew, is there certain moments that really stand out to you? A special story or special people that show up?
There's about a half a dozen people that have been there from the very beginning. So yes, the short answer to your question, and it always just brings a smile on my face when I see them there every month, the same group of folks. It also makes me pretty happy too. It seems like every month now we have additional people, new people. But truly, Harvey was one of those individuals that when he passed, and it was at least a year that he was suffering, and he always sat in the same spot. A lot of guys they have their same location,
Yeah.
same place, but when Harvey stopped showing up, that kind of hit me hard because he was always a great supporter of me and veterans in general. Yeah, that's one of the individuals I miss. And I always look at the seat now where he used to sit. And when I see other people in it, I almost want him to say, please sit somewhere else. But
You need to you need to take one of Harvey's quilts and put it on that chair and put reserved.
yeah, it's
Seat of honor.
when he passed, right after when we had the first meeting since he passed, I literally brought my quilt in and I put it on a table and we did a little commemorative thing for Harvey because he, once again, a lot of great advocates for our veterans and seniors in the community, but Harvey was definitely one of the best.
When you talk about quilts, that's definitely a connection that you and I have that you don't know about in two ways. One, my mother was an avid quilter and
Hmm,
she did not
oh,
do them
great.
on machine. She hand stitched quilts
Oh, wow.
and she was very good at it that she actually ended up quilting several quilts for women who wrote books.
Hmm,
And she would do the quilts for their books that they would highlight in their books using
wow.
their patterns and
Hmm,
material choices. And so for her funeral, we gathered quilts and different quilting projects that she had done. And
Oh, wow.
it was in, I finally fondly call it, it's either the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, or somewhere in Pennsylvania. It was the old clapboard church and the pews. And so we draped
Wow.
those quilts along the back of pews.
My gosh,
Well,
Weezy, that must have been so special.
it
Hmm,
really was.
wow.
And I'm tearing up a little bit.
Hmm, hmm.
And then my oldest sister, she lives in Florida. She also quilts. She does machine quilts, but she gets together with a couple other people. Now they don't do them. I don't think they do them for veterans, but they do make quilts for like first responders.
Nice.
And maybe I'm not 100% sure what they do with all the quilts, but it may be for like the first responders when they go out and somebody's had something going on, like a comfort quilt or
Nice.
something like
Nice.
that. So my sister is heavily involved in that. So that is our connection with.
And it goes deeper too, because you mentioned your sister. I also have a sister that I have memories of her sewing clothes for her Barbie dolls. I
Mhm.
was like, oh gosh, must have been 5 or 6 years old. And she has become an avid sewer. It's just something she's done. And recently, last year, she gave me a quilt for my birthday. And what she did is she said, send me some of your old concert t-shirts.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah, I've seen
she
those.
turned all those into an amazing quilt that I also love. But it's just good memories. In this business, a lot of seniors that one of the things is they start to lose some of their memories.
Mhm.
I said to my sister, I said, I never want to forget all the great concerts that I went to with my buddies. So she's, I can help you with that.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And of course, Living Legacy with Weezy, we're all about preserving those stories and those
Mm.
memories. So that is awesome. Being part of this community in Rock Hill with the
Mhm.
Brew and Chew, what are some of the things that your group do they like address issues or is it just for camaraderie? And how do you go about meeting challenges and needs for the veterans in the community?
It's a very good question, Leezy, because one of the things I pride myself on, and when we started this Brew and Chew, Lee, my office manager, by the way, she is the credit for coming up with the name. She pulled that out of a hat, and I love the name. But one of the things we decided early on is I didn't want to sell things to my veterans. I wanted all of my speakers to be informative and to provide information that could help them in their community, find out different resources that are available. So every month I have someone that is there. Like I said, I've had my Congressman Ralph Norman 4 or 5 times now. Our local mayor from Rock Hill, John Getty. I just actually he was last month. He was the speaker at our event. So I'm always trying to find someone that will provide information, resources. Another
Mhm.
sad thing about the military is we lose a lot of vets every year due to suicide. So one of the other individuals that I make sure I have on the docket every year is Eagle Rock Camp. Lynn Morale is an amazing person that runs that organization. And their goal is to literally to help individuals, help vets that have contemplated suicide. And then she literally takes them camping, the whole family.
Oh,
It's
wow.
all expense. It's donations. It's run on donations. I was going to say all expense are covered, but it's run on a donation. And I think I might be getting it wrong, but there might be a small amount that the family has to pay. But so that's suicide prevention. And then this coming month in April, we have another individual that talks to us about honor flights. If you're not familiar with honor flights, those are the flights the airlines donate the plane, they donate the pilot, the stewardesses, and then they take a whole plane full of vets up to Washington, and they have an opportunity to visit the memorials up there. So I hope to volunteer. Daryl Rockwell is the person that coordinates that and works with them. And I hope to volunteer and go up there with him and experience that sometime and help some vets. I have a 100-year-old Navy woman veteran that we've been trying to get on the flight. I don't know if we're still pushing her. We're still trying to get her up there, but maybe someday.
Oh, it's her choice that she doesn't want to go.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's a lot. It's a long day that they're up and back in one day.
Yeah, that
You
is.
know.
A
Yeah,
lot.
and it's a lot. And but yeah, so I'm always trying to provide information. Like I said, I have a half a dozen individuals that come every year and
Mhm.
cover the same topic. And we're always looking for new things. We're always looking for new opportunities to get new speakers because those 6, 8, 10 veterans that come every month, I have to change it up for them from time to time.
Yeah, yeah, that is for sure. So, if you were to give advice to another community, since we are nationwide, what would you say to somebody to if they've been thinking about trying to start something in their community? What advice would you give them?
That's another good question, Weezy. Because I've had this question asked of me from other owners and even owners that aren't vets. I think it's a little easier for me because I am a veteran. I kind of speak the same language, particularly with the Navy guys. The Marines, I still have difficulty understanding. No, just
There's
kidding.
always a struggle there between Navy and
I poke
Marines.
fun at the Marines all the time because my brother is a Marine. And he was in the Vietnam War, so I always feel that I
You
need to be
gotta do a
them
little
whenever I
jabby.
can. But the one thing I would say is, first of all, you got to have free coffee and donuts. They will come for the food, and the food and the coffee is one thing that will attract veterans. And also, I told once again my office manager Lee when we started this, I said, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it every month, and we're going to continue to do it forever. And so you have to have that mindset because I remember one time we changed the time from 8:30 in the morning till 9:30. We pushed it an hour back and we communicated to everybody, hey, we're going to start later. There must have been 10 vets that were at the door at 8:30. I got there at 9 and they're like, where you been? We've been here since 8:30. So once you start something, you have to continue with it. The consistency and like I said, a lot of my vets are retired. So no, they're just looking to get out and we have a lot of fun. We really do. And I think they enjoy it and I try to make it enjoyable for them.
Awesome. You've spent a lifetime gathering wisdom, but what's stopping you from sharing it? Maybe you're worried it won't come out right. Maybe you think your story isn't important enough, or you're unsure of where to begin. But here's the truth: your story matters. It's the thread that ties the generations together. It's the lessons that will inspire your family long after you're gone. One of my favorite techniques is to use video. After all, seeing is believing, right? I know getting in front of the camera can be intimidating. Believe me, I've been there. I coach and I interview businesses all the time, and I see the same nerves on their face every single time. You don't have to face it alone. With a little guidance, sharing your story can feel as natural as talking to an old friend. Is there anything else that you would like people to know about your group? If somebody wanted to get in touch with you just to brainstorm, would you be open to sharing your information to how they could contact with you?
Yeah, I'd love the opportunity to talk to people about it, and particularly the vets. I'm always putting my information out there because we just love to commiserate about our experiences in the military. But yeah, the best way to reach us is info@seniorcare-sc.com. And then we always answer our phones. So the best if they ever wanted to call and talk to me, it's 803-227-3087. But those are the two ways. And then of course we have everything on our website, and that is also about and actually the other thing we post on our website is who's going to be the guest speaker for the next month. So if they ever want to check that out, they can go to our website as well. And that's www.seniorcare-sc.com.
Okay, very good. Jim, our time is up for today. I'm so glad that you joined me today, and I'm sure your stories will inspire some others to, if they are veterans, maybe see about seeing if they have groups in their area, or maybe contacting you to see how they could start a group in their area. Or
absolutely.
if they're traveling through the Rock Hill area, come to your Brew and Chew.
Yeah, yeah, I've had that happen a few times. Literally, we post the information everywhere. And I just wanted to say thank you to you, and I do pass your information on to all my clients because I think what you're doing is absolutely amazing. And
Oh, thank you.
because I have a lot of memories of my parents, but I don't have any audio recordings from them. And I'm sure I have some VHS tapes somewhere packed away, but I just wish I had some video recordings of my mom and dad because they both passed and I do miss them. And what you do, I think, is awesome. And I don't know, in 20 years, like photos, what a kid's going to do? They take pictures on their phones all the time and they lose their phone. I can go back and look at my mom's old photo albums, but what you're doing is a great service. And I'd like to have you come to our Brew and Chew and talk to my vets sometime.
I would love to. I would love to.
Awesome.
Ah, and you can see back there, I have my little executive producer back there. That's Zoe. She's actually my grand dog. She's my son's dog. He served in the army for several
Awesome.
years.
Awesome. Awesome.
And yeah, in our house, or in our family, it was my brother-in-laws who would serve, but because I have five sisters.
Wow. Wow.
And several of my brother-in-laws were in the Air Force.
Yeah, my
And
sister was in the Air Force as well. So we had
oh,
the
so you are a
experience.
really military family.
Yeah, yeah. She inspired me to go into the Navy. She's just ahead of me. She was the second youngest. I'm the youngest. And I saw her travel and she spent over a year and a half in Okinawa, Japan.
Mm.
It just inspired me to see her travels and what she was doing. So part of what got me in the Navy. So
Yeah, I would I really need to put a bug in my uncle's ear. He is in his late 70s now, but he was a MP with in the K-9 force for the Air Force, and he served over in Vietnam.
awesome. Awesome. I might have to put my brother in touch with you as well because he's well into his 70s now. And he was a supply officer in Vietnam. And just recently, he started sharing more pictures and stories and telling us more about it. Like a lot of Vietnam vets, they don't share a lot, and World War II vets as well.
Mm,
But I was there when I saw him last year. He pulled out an old shoebox full of Polaroid pictures and just started going through them with us. It was him and his wife. It was pretty amazing.
yeah, my when I was going through photos when my mom passed away, I found a bunch of photos of my uncle,
Hmm.
and it was his experiences with some of the he had adopted, or a local family in Vietnam had adopted him and
Hmm.
some of the other soldiers or whatever, and
Wow. Hmm.
I pictures of those. And so at my mom's celebration of life, I was able to return those photographs to him.
That's awesome. That's
So,
awesome. Hmm.
but anyways, we got a little sidetracked in our getting off the air here, Jim. But anyways, again, it was great to talk to you. And like I said, everybody, if you are in the Rock Hill area and you're a vet, come join Jim at the Brew and Chew. When is it?
The first Tuesday of every month at
First
9:30
Tuesday.
in the morning. Usually
Eh,
lasts about an hour and a half in
Oh,
Open Trail.
okay. There you go, everybody. And you have Jim's information. You know that you can always, if you want to follow me here for Life Mosaic, it's lifemosaic.me is my website. You can find this podcast on all of the major podcast platforms. And if you want more information for Living Legacy with Weezy or to follow me on Facebook and Instagram, it is LLW Weezy. That's Weezy. Just touch base with one of those and you'll find all my information. And you can always check out the show notes, and all of our information is there too. So thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.
Take care, Weezy.
Over 100,000 Americans are dying each year from a drug overdose. 988, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, is making it easier for individuals experiencing substance use or mental health crises, their friends, and their families to reach out for help. Anyone using the hotline can receive free and confidential support from trained counselors. If you or someone you know is struggling with substance use or experiencing a crisis, 988 is available 24/7 to call, text, or chat at 988lifeline.org.